I work hard to earn my pay, and I saved real big today at All-American Ford.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Svino, the marketing director for the All-American Auto Group, and this is the All-American Auto Mall and Old Bridge Updates podcast. This is episode number 23. I have some weekly updates. Going to talk a little bit about the 2021 Ford Raptor that was revealed by Ford Motor Company yesterday, Wednesday the 3rd, on YouTube. I'll talk a little bit about Ford's Finish Strong initiative related to some of their stuff they're doing with COVID. And then I'll talk a little bit about some Super Bowl ad preview information because, of course, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. So let's get into it. All right. So last week on episode 22 of this podcast, I did an episode all about me, my background, how I got to the position I'm in. So if you're interested in that, you could go back and check that out. That was episode 22. Then on really Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we had a nor'easter here in New Jersey. A lot of the Northeast was affected, crazy amount of snow. I guess Old Bridge, the final counts were somewhere between like 20 and 30 inches, spanning across almost 48 hours. I've talked about it before on this podcast, how snow days aren't that fun for car dealerships. Been dealing with it my whole life, obviously, with my father having a dealership on Long Island. But when I was younger, I don't think I realized, but, I would stay home, have a fun snow day with my friends. And my father and my brothers, once they got old enough, would have to go into the dealership at, 4 a.m., start plowing, start shoveling, do anything they could to get the business open. So these past few years now that I've been here, I've had to experience it, especially with having young kids. I've been a little bitter towards it because I'd rather be at home playing in the snow with them. But, it is what it is. We have a great team here, great management staff, and everybody really pulls together. We had a lot of people doing their best to get here on Monday if it was safe for them. That helped start to plow. And really, we have 4 or 5 plow trucks just going constantly. We had them start, I believe, Sunday afternoon, potentially. I think they were moving cars all day Saturday when we were open. And then the plows started overnight Sunday. Monday was all day. Monday night, all night, Tuesday morning. I came in both days. I think both days, Monday and Tuesday, I got up at 4 a.m., shoveled out of my house, and then came in, got in by like 5-ish, started snow blowing the front entrances and stuff like that, making it as safe as possible for, employees coming in to help with snow removal and then eventually customers. So the beginning of this week obviously was crazy with that. There's still a lot of snow mounds everywhere and just a crazy amount of snow. And for car dealerships, again, with the amount of cars we have, we try and move them from the front line. It's just hundreds and hundreds of cars being moved, being snowed on, then having to clear them, then having to move the cars back. It's crazy. So this week started a little slow in terms of business-wise, just because obviously people weren't coming out in the nor'easter. And everybody has just spent, the last few days really trying to clear. So we're finally in a good spot. I hear we might get more snow on Sunday, which is not going to be welcomed. I'm hoping the only exciting thing that happens on Sunday is the Super Bowl and not snow, but we'll see what happens. So another exciting thing that happened since last week that kind of got overshadowed with the snow that I'm very happy to announce is that we're now a proud partner of Rutgers Athletics. So Rutgers University is one of the bigger universities in New Jersey, State University. Great school. We have so many different alumni from there working for us here in throughout the whole All-American Auto Group. So many New Jerseyans go to Rutgers University, so very well known. We do a lot of fleet business with them. So we provide a lot of vehicles to them over the years. And so we finally were able to work out a pretty cool partnership, sponsorship, advertising, whatever you want to call it, with their athletics department. It includes a little bit of fleet and helping them out with their vehicles. So that was very exciting. We got to be on their LED courtside for their men's basketball. Our logo and a little ad that popped up during the game when they beat Michigan State the other week So I posted a picture of that on social media. So that was cool to see. So I'm excited to see where that partnership goes and grows to. I'll continue to talk about that, but we'll be definitely involved a lot with their men's basketball, their football team, and then a lot of their other sports as well. So very excited about that. It's one of the bigger advertising partnership deals that we've done and sponsorship deals. So I'll be talking more about that, and you'll see a lot more on our social media pages about that. So the next thing I want to mention quick is the reveal of the 2021 Ford Raptor that happened yesterday. It's on the Ford Motor Company YouTube pages. I also posted about it on our social media pages, so you can check that out. Very exciting from a Ford perspective and our dealerships, obviously. It's being billed as the all-new 2021 F-150 Raptor, advertised as having next-level performance, toughness, and off-road capability. Old Bridge has always done, and our auto group really in general, has always done really well with Raptors. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast that we're obviously tops in the country in terms of performance and custom and specialty vehicles and trucks, when it comes to the Shelbys, the Roushes and everything. And Raptors, we're right up there as well. Last year too with COVID, it was funny because we had a ton of Raptors in stock. We really stocked up for a big 2020, sold them like crazy in the beginning of the year. Then COVID hit. It was honestly probably the number one vehicle that people reached out to us about if it had 0% APR financing. So if everybody remembers that I talked about it on the podcast a few times, when COVID hit, a lot of the manufacturers, sprung into action, did really well in terms of the programs and incentives they put out there. Almost everybody was offering 0% financing and deferred payments, really. And Shelby and Roush both offered 0% financing for 7 years, which was insane. I can't remember a time where either of those companies offered 0% on their, very expensive, high performance vehicles. And they did it during COVID. And it was very popular with people wanting to purchase those trucks. So we actually sold a ton of Shelby and Roushes in 2020 because of that 0% deal that they had for a few months there. And Raptors, Ford did 0% on almost all of those vehicles, but Raptor was not included. And honestly, it was probably one of the most asked question we got from customers during those heavy COVID months when the 0% was out for everything else. Everybody was calling up or putting in leads asking if the Raptor had 0%. So, and, obviously Ford didn't, but we still did really well. We sold out of them pretty early in the year. And then with the production shutdowns and everything, we just never got a good inventory after that. So we're excited for the 2021 Raptor. Hopefully it gets here. Can't get here soon enough. But they revealed it. Obviously, the regular F-150 went through the redesign in 2021, brand new interior, subtle changes on the exterior, a lot of new features, options. So the Raptor kind of followed that and went through in terms of a redesign for this model year. So just to highlight some of the new stuff with it, it's got a new 5-link rear suspension, the next generation Fox shocks, which are very popular on the Raptor. It's got the 35-inch standard all-terrain tires, but this year they're offering an optional 37-inch option, which is pretty cool. It's got new wheel choices, more tow rating and payload rating than the previous year. That high output 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 engine now has even more low end torque. So it is a very high performance truck, and it's going to continue that. Very high performance when it comes to off-road capability as well. It's got a new distinctive power dome hood with a new heat extractor. So that's going to be a new look on the hood. And then, of course, this one's going to come with all the latest and greatest safety and technology features from Ford, the Sync 4, the Ford Copilot 360, the over-the-air updates, all that good stuff. So a lot to look forward to with the 2021 Raptor. Of course, we'll continue to be the Raptor headquarters throughout our auto group and here in Old Bridge. And once those start to roll into the showroom, of course, I'll be posting like crazy about it on social media. So look out for that. But definitely exciting stuff. Go back on our social media pages or the Ford Motor Company social media and YouTube pages and check out the reveal video because they actually did a really nice job with it. It's pretty exciting stuff. The next thing I want to talk about is some exciting news from Ford that they kind of released this past week. As part of their Finish Strong initiative, that's kind of related to their COVID relief initiative and everything. And Ford, I have to give them a lot of credit. They did a lot during the first few months of COVID and the shutdowns and everything. All manufacturers sprung into action with their deals and incentives. But I personally feel, and of course I'm biased, and I've admitted that a lot on this podcast before, but I feel like they sprung into action a little quicker and a little more aggressive than others. They turned a lot of their manufacturer into producing masks and ventilators and stuff like that. They did so much with donations, and I don't feel like they even got enough credit for it when they were doing it initially. But they're continuing their Finish Strong initiative. So they've pledged to donate 120 million more masks to the communities in need across the country, and 25 million of those masks will be donated over the next 5 weeks. They gave dealerships a ton of masks for free for us to give out to our customers. So we still have boxes and boxes of masks that we give out to customers when they come in. So Ford really stepped it up with their mask production and, donations to the communities and to our dealerships so that we can give them out to the communities. They've also started to design and receive patent pending approval for an innovative new clear respirator that it expects to certify to N95 standards for virus elimination that actually allows for better expression and communication. So that's a pretty cool thing. And related to that, they have this inexpensive open source design for a fan and an HVAC filter combination that could help reduce virus particles. So they, continue to just use their technology, knowledge, and production capabilities to help out with fighting this virus across the country and for the communities. And the next phase of their Finish Strong initiative, they have a commercial out that is going to air during the Super Bowl. It's what I've read so far is that it might only be during regional Super Bowl ad spots. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's obviously national commercials that air in all areas during the Super Bowl, but then there's also these regional spots, which will switch out per region, obviously. So what I've read so far from Ford and their Finish Strong initiative is that I think it might focus on regional ads for the Super Bowl and focus more on the areas most affected by COVID. So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with for that and what also they air during the Super Bowl. I mean, they have, a good Mach-E commercial. They have the good Bronco Sport commercial. So they have some interesting things that they could go with. So we'll kind of see. And I've been critical of Ford advertising in the past. I think with a lot of their commercials, it's been pretty basic, nothing too exciting. I've never loved their regular commercials. I think they've made a mistake in the past by treating their F-150 completely different, where they have a completely different ad campaign for the F-150. Back going a few years, they've had, Dennis Leary as the spokesperson for the F-150 commercials, and they've been great. I've always felt that they've been strong, very aggressive, very fast and sleek and, quick cuts and keeping the audience engaged and, hitting home the real good points about the F-150. But then their regular, commercials for the rest of their line of SUVs and everything, it always took a different route and just always never really connected with the F-150 type commercials. So I never loved those. But then a couple of years ago when they signed on a new ad agency and Bryan Cranston to do the Built Ford Proud commercials, I have loved those. So they've been playing, I think, for about 2 years now. I think they do a fantastic job across the entire model lineup. So I've been very excited about those. I hope we see one or two of them during the Super Bowl. I mean, the Finish Strong initiative is part of that as well. The Built Ford Proud and Bryan Cranston, I believe, voices those commercials too. So it'll be interesting to see. And I know I wanted to mention too the latest Bronco Sport commercial called Raised by Goats. I actually love that commercial. I hope that plays during the Super Bowl. Came out a couple of weeks ago. I think I watched it during it might have been during the first week of the NFL playoffs, so it's a few weeks old now. But you could find it on YouTube. It's part of their Built Wild campaign for the Bronco. It was a great spot where kind of this baby bronco is raised by goats and, goes over all the different terrains and the off-road capabilities of the Bronco in a really cute way with, these baby goats and a baby Bronco. So I love that commercial. So I hope that plays. All right. So continuing on, talking about commercials and stuff, Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. Like I said, I always look forward to the commercials from a marketing perspective. I know when I had worked in Manhattan, we always talked about it a lot leading up to it, who was going to do it, which big companies, what were they going to show, stuff like that. Always did a good recap of our favorite ones after the fact, what they did right, what they did wrong, how we could use it to our advantage. That was when I was working at Ogilvy and Mather. So a lot of interesting stuff with the commercials. I mean, the prices of them, I did a little research and I was actually surprised. I know it gets a lot of attention, but I didn't realize how much it's, just astronomically gone up in price. In 1967, the cost was under $40K per 30-second commercial. By 1995, it reached over $1 million per commercial. By 2011, so just 10 years ago, it was at $3.1 million for a 30-second commercial. And now it's at $5.5 million per commercial. So in 10 years, it jumped over $2 million per commercial. The last few years, it's been around $5.6 million per commercial. This year, they opened the bid at $5.5 million, so a little bit of a decrease. And I know it's getting a lot of attention that last year's Super Bowl commercials, and most of them sell out by, November, Thanksgiving time. This year, they didn't sell out until January. So obviously, you could see the effects of COVID there. And with advertisers, I think a lot of advertisers just don't want to spend that money at this point on it. And also, I think this is a tough year because of the environment of the entire country. I mean, everything going on politically with COVID. I mean, there's so many different issues right now where if I'm a company, I don't even know if I want to take a chance of spending $5.5 million on a commercial that, you're supposed to try and stand out. You're supposed to try and make it funny because that's how it stands out. You're supposed to take risks with it, but I don't know. This year could be tough. So it'll be interesting to see what companies kind of attack in terms of their route towards getting your attention. Is it going to be comical? Are they going to do more kind of passion and compassion with COVID and all that stuff? We've seen that, from a couple different companies the last few years where they've made it more emotional. And what I've found is, sometimes that gets good marks, sometimes it gets bad marks. So that's what I'll be looking at when I watch these Super Bowl commercials, is how these companies approach the current environment with COVID. And if they kind of, go at it head on and address it, or you're going to see companies just dismiss it, not mention it, just go with their own, comical ways and try and get your attention. And we'll see if there's any backlash from that. I mean, nowadays there's backlash for everything, anything companies try really. So we'll see. I'll see how it goes. I'll see which ones I like and dislike, and then maybe I'll talk about it next episode. But that's the updates for this week. I hope everybody enjoys the Super Bowl, who cares about it, and I'll be back next week.
Well, everyone can afford it, all